Hello, everyone. So for this week's lesson, I chose data collection methods because research is such an important part of psychology, and understanding how data is collected can help us to better understand how psychologists study behavior scientifically. I also chose this topic because these methods are widely used in psychology research, and they do help researchers gather information in different ways. So in this presentation, I will go over experimental methods, observation methods, surveys, and case studies, along with reliability and validity in research. I will also include a short practice activity to help apply the concepts discussed in the lesson. Let's first start with why data collection matters in psychology. So psychology relies on evidence instead of just assumptions or personal opinions to better understand behavior. Researchers collect data to test theories and hypotheses and see if their ideas are actually supported by evidence. So data collection also helps make studies more accurate and consistent. Another important part of research is replication, and this means that other researchers can repeat the same study to see if they get similar results. So this is important because it helps show whether the findings are reliable. Experiments are commonly used in psychology because they help researchers figure out cause and effect relationships. In an experiment, the independent variable is the factor being changed, while the dependent variable is what researchers measure to see if anything was affected. Most experiments include a control group and an experimental group, so researchers can compare results between the two groups. Researchers also use random assignment to help make the group more equal and reduce outside factors that could affect the results. One major strength of experiments is that researchers have a lot of control over the variables during the study, which can help make the findings more reliable. Observation methods involve watching and recording behavior as it naturally happens. Sometimes researchers observe people in real-life settings, which is called naturalistic observation, because it allows them to see how people normally behave in everyday situations. Other times, observations are done in more controlled settings where researchers have more structure over the environment. Researchers also decide whether participants know they are being observed. In overt observations, participants are aware, while in covert observations, they are not. Researchers may also use different ways to record behavior, like time sampling, where behavior is recorded during certain time periods, or event sampling, where specific behaviors are recorded whenever they happen. One strength of observation methods is that they can provide more realistic data, although researchers usually have less control over outside variables. Surveys are useful because they allow researchers to collect information from a large group of people in a short amount of time. They are often used to study things like behaviors, personal experiences, or opinions. So one important thing to remember about surveys is that the wording of questions matters because the way a question is asked can influence how people respond. Another method that researchers use is case studies, which focuses on one person or a small group in detail. So case studies can give researchers a deeper understanding of rare situations or unique behaviors that may not be easy to study otherwise. So even though these case studies can provide valuable information, the findings cannot always be applied to everyone because they focus on such a small number of people. Reliability and validity are both important because they help researchers know if a study can be trusted. Reliability means that the results stay consistent over time or when the study is repeated. Validity focuses more on accuracy and whether the study is actually measuring what it's supposed to measure. In observational studies, researchers may use something called inter-rater reliability, which is when multiple observers compare the results to make sure they are seeing and recording behaviors the same way. Researchers also try to control outside factors called confounding variables, because those factors can affect the results of a study. Replication is also important because when other researchers repeat repeat a study and get similar findings, it helps strengthen the evidence and support the results. So this practice activity helps put the concepts from the lesson into real situations. In the first example, naturalistic observation would work best because the psychologist wants to watch behavior in a real setting without interfering or changing anything. In the second example, an experiment is the best choice because the researchers are trying to see if caffeine actually affects memory, which is a cause and effect relationship. In the third example, a survey works best because it allows researchers to collect information from a large group of people in a quick and efficient way. Let's now cover some of the main key points from this presentation. Data collection helps psychologists study behavior in a scientific and organized way. Experiments are useful for studying cause and effect relationships, while observation methods allow researchers to record behavior directly. Surveys and case studies also help researchers collect information from people in different ways. Reliability and validity are important because they help make sure research findings are accurate and consistent. Once again, I hope this presentation helped explain data collection methods in a simple and easy to follow way. Thank you so much for listening.